Wine, vin, vino, Chardonnay, Champagne, a cab, Chianti. No matter what we call it, it's simply fermented grape juice that has been poured at weddings, wars, and dinner tables for thousands of years. But when did it all start? Short answer, we don't really know, because wine, and our love of it, predates writing. So let's take a look back and answer, where does wine come from? I'm the Spirits Professor, and this is the history of wine. Like and subscribe below. Wild animals and early humans sought out fermented fruits under trees for tens of thousands of years before wine was ever a thought in our minds. Natural fermentation likely happened the moment people gathered wild grapes and left them in a warm spot. Juice plus wild yeast equals magic. The reason we don't really know how far back this natural fermentation process goes is that we simply don't have any records that far back. That said, archaeologists have found evidence suggesting purposeful fruit fermentation over 10,000 years ago, long before written records. How do we know this without any written records? Pots. One of the earliest makers of wine comes from ancient Georgian villagers. Excavations show ancient Georgians growing, fermenting, and storing wine in vessels around 6000 BC. By about 5000 BC, winemaking spread to regions tied to ancient Azeri, Persian, and Greek cultures. Basically, as soon as we figured out wine, we started to really refine the process into a distinct product. In present-day Armenia, the Areni I cave, dated to 4100 BC, gives us one of the earliest intact wine production sites, complete with a wine press and fermentation vessels. 6,000 years into wine's history, according to the best archaeological evidence we have, and wine is already becoming a cornerstone of the human experience. By 3000 BC, grape domestication and organized winemaking spread to ancient Egypt and Sumer. By this point, wine quickly became more than a drink. It became ritual, law, and story. Around this era, we see wine explode in popularity in religious texts and myths. The Bible's Noah plants a vineyard and makes wine after the flood, an early cultural memory of winemaking's role in human life. In ancient Greece, wine was central to religion and theater. Think Dionysus, god of wine, madness, and celebration. Persia went big on viticulture too. Palaces in Persepolis had gardens devoted to grape cultivation, with production centralized for the ancient empire. Between 500 BC and 200 AD, ancient trade routes spread wines far and wide. The Silk Road and the conquests of Alexander the Great helped wine knowledge reach China, where early distillation was being invented. But that's a story for another day. Along the way, ancient India adopted and created their own wine traditions. Fermented fruit wines and other regional variations existed long before the grape monoculture arrived. Fast forward, the Romans take wine on a grand scale. Vineyards, cellars, amphora shipping, even laws about wine. Rome supercharged production and global spread. The Roman Empire's trade networks spread grape varieties and winemaking techniques across Europe and into North Africa. After Western Rome declined, wine survived and evolved. In medieval Europe, monasteries became the guardians of viticulture and wine knowledge in the West. Meanwhile, Eastern wine traditions were preserved during the Islamic Golden Age, and the broader Middle East maintained sophisticated agricultural and scientific knowledge, including the refinement of wine distillation. Again, that's a story of another day. It's also important to remember the Americas. Indigenous peoples in the Americas made fermented drinks from wild grapes and other plants long before Columbus arrived. Archaeology points to regional fermented beverages using grapes, cacao-related fermentations, and other botanical sources across the pre-Columbian Americas. From the 1500s, Wine as we know it arrived in the Americas with European colonists. South and North America get their first vineyards. Remember medieval monasteries? They provided the missionaries who brought grapevines to the Americas. Voyage by voyage, colonists carried vines and methods. Spanish missions planted grapes in California, while the Portuguese and Spanish introduced grapes across South America. Wine's story continues outward. Wine comes to South Africa, and later to Australia and New Zealand via European colonists who brought their grapes with them. But the 19th century brought a crisis. Phylloxera, a root louse from North America, devastated European vineyards. The solution came from those same American vines. Grafting European grape scions onto American rootstocks saved the European continent's vineyards. By the 20th century, wine became a truly global industry. Improved transport, refrigeration, research, and mass market demand made wine widely available. At the same time, cultural shifts changed wine's role from a sacrament and elite luxury to an everyday table companion. In the modern era, science improved winemaking. Yeast strains, lab analysis, and vineyard management became instrumental in production, while craft and regional identity pushed quality and diversity. Globalization and tourism helped too. Wine regions branded themselves, wine education spread, and people traveled to taste terroir, the idea that place shapes flavor. Wine became a behemoth worldwide, with over $500 billion in sales in 2025 alone. Today, wine means many things: tradition, science, commerce, ritual, and pleasure. It's a story of human migration, trade, religion, agriculture, and clever problem-solving. So, to recap, natural fermentation likely began in prehistory. Georgia shows early winemaking by 6000 BC. Areni I dates to 4100 BC. Egypt and Sumer domesticated vines by 3000 BC. Religion and myth feature wine everywhere. Persia, Greece, Rome, China, India, medieval Europe, and the Middle East all shaped wine. European colonists spread vines worldwide. Phylloxera nearly ended European vineyards in the 1800s, but was stopped by American rootstock. And the 20th century turned wine into a global industry. One final thought. Wine's precise origin will probably always be mysterious. 1,000 tiny experiments by nameless people turning sweet fruit into something more. That makes wine not just a drink, but a human invention woven into our history. It makes it part of who we are. And that's the history of wine. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more histories of beer, wine, spirits, cocktails, and more. Please like, subscribe, and comment. Cheers.